And I wanted to prove to the fans that I'm more than just this guy already in the ring. And how can I show that personality if I have no entrance? You know, if I have no time on the microphone, I'm just already in the ring. So I started the show to kind of pull back the curtain and blend Matt Cardona and Zack Ryder, and the fans really related to that.
And you felt it, but it also had resounding effects. I remember that Survivor Series when The Rock's trying to cut his promo after the show and they're chanting for you. How did that make you feel? Did you get heat over that?
I don't know if I got heat. It felt amazing. It was great. I mean, The Rock, the biggest wrestling star, arguably of all time, in the ring. He had just come back, Madison Square Garden, and they're chanting for me. Still, they started the show chanting for me. I did a run in the first match, and all the way 3 hours later, they're still chanting for me. So it was a great feeling, a great night.
Do you feel like, though, because of that kind of reaction, like you said, it was different because no one else was doing it, but do you feel like a reaction like that these days would get more attention in current day WWE, where they'd have to acknowledge it more?
I think they would definitely acknowledge it more. I think they're a lot more, open to things like that aren't necessarily in their plans. And listen, I forced their hand. I made them use me. You know, that was my goal. They were gonna use me or fire me. I was gonna get noticed by WWE or get fired and then use that buzz elsewhere. I didn't want to get fired.
Of course not.
Of course I wanted to be, I wanted to be on Raw, WrestleMania, get action figures. And I did all that. But the goal was, hey, enough of this. Something's got to change. I'm either going to get noticed by WWE or I'm going to get fired and use that buzz elsewhere. And it all worked out. Now, did it all get erased? Did it all get flushed down the toilet, pushed off the stage in a wheelchair? Yeah. But, I'm somebody who likes to hold myself accountable. I will never be like, so-and-so buried me or so-and-so didn't like me. I'm man enough to say, hey, during that time, I could have easily knocked on Vince McMahon's door and been like, hey, what's going on here? Working my ass off, the high merch seller. Why are we doing this? And I didn't do that. So I don't have an answer. So I blame myself. I'm not going to say WWE bury me. I think that's the cop out. That's the easy way out. And
of course.
I never wanted to take that route.
Do you look back on that? You mentioned the wheelchair thing, and obviously that's not going to make you look good at the time, and it didn't lead to this big push. But do you look back and they go, well, I had some kind of moment. People still talk about that, or is it too negative?
No, I thought the wheelchair thing is great. I mean, it still pops up all the time, And at the time, I thought, it was part of the process. I'm in this storyline with John Cena.
Yeah.
Kane. I'm like, this is awesome. I could see why people thought it was a burial. And yes, it did end up storyline-wise leading to me not being featured on TV anymore. And at the time, it did feel like my hard work was being erased. But like I said, I didn't knock on Vince's door. I wasn't man enough back then to ask what was going on. I blame myself for that.
And it'll be obviously a little different now. If you were to look back then when you were starting, like you said, you were the only one doing it, and to that level, did you take any direction or inspiration from anyone else as related to using social media or even websites back then?
Not really. I was just a kid who was genuinely on Facebook. Instagram wasn't even a thing.
Right.
So I was just doing things that Matt Cardona would do on my personal Facebook. I was doing them as Zack Ryder on Twitter. Hanging out with my friends, posting pictures of me at the bars, like telling stories of dates gone wrong,
right?
Stuff like that, and the fans related.
I was in the building on one of the nights in Philly, not before your time. Matt Hardy was doing the stuff with Edge and Lita, and he was popping up in Ring of Honor, and he was doing the stuff where he was not back in the company, but he kind of was. And I remember being in the building. And I had like a Matt Hardy show T-shirt, and he had people he had a street team in the building,
awesome.
Which is 2 years before you even sign. His website was big, and obviously he's created a lot of that. I assume on the indies back then. I think it's 2 years before you sign with WWE.
It's actually funny because my first ever 8x10 that I ordered from highspots.com, somehow Matt Hardy 8x10s got mixed in with it. So listen, Matt Hardy, Hurricane Helms, there are guys who use social media and the internet before me, but I think I'm the first one who really blended the character and the person and used it to change my spot in a major company.
Obviously, WWE has leaned into social media, making it an essential part of their programming and storylines for fans, that you got to follow it. There was up and down success, I think, of Mixed Match Challenge, and that was exclusive to Facebook. Now they're back, and they're doing WWE Speed, and it's the 3-minute matches, and it's specifically on Twitter, X, whatever you think. What do you think of that concept? Do you think they're doing it the right way?
I actually like that. It's something exclusive to social media. It's just a quick, snackable match. And it's not really, it's not changing. They're still posting everything from Raw, NXT, SmackDown. It's just a bonus thing. So it's just extra exposure for these guys and girls.
How would you handle that being on that show?
Oh, man. 3 minutes? That's not my style of wrestling. Quick and fast? No, man. I like to grab a hold, so I don't know if that would work for me.
Which, admittedly, I think I was a little surprised to see Andrade and Carl Anderson listed on the latest show this week. I mean, if you're putting that show together, what does it look like for you?
It's definitely how they're doing. The people who want it, the people who can give you that hard-hitting, quick action. And I think, guys can use it as an opportunity. Maybe they're not getting featured on television. Well, hey, impress somebody on this show. Use everything as an opportunity.
And I know you do that. Now, you've created your own universe with podcasts, live shows, the figures, so much more. What kind of consideration do you give, considering the control you have over those things, if you are or will or have had discussions with working with top promotions?
In regards to would I ever give it up?
Yeah. I mean, that's no. Okay.
It's a non-negotiable. This stuff, the podcast, the toy line, this, not only is it my passion, not only is it making a lot of money, but it's so much fun and I love it. And it's just a non-negotiable, something I could never give up.
What a nice thing to hear, because you think of that and I know this is a dumb question because I know you miss the big crowds. Who wouldn't want to work in front?
100%.
Of course, you see a show in France like they had last month. How would that not inspire you in some way, right?
I say it all the time. I don't care how you define success, accolades, money, happiness. These past 4 years have been the most successful years of my career. I've been having the most fun, making the most money, and arguably getting the most attention, the most buzz than I ever have. But of course, when Chelsea's wrestling at MSG, I get a little jealous. Of course, I wish I had a WrestleMania moment again. Even a couple months ago, doing AEW with Adam Copeland. And hey, that arena was packed. I was there. That hard camps, I was packed too. And I miss something like that. You think I want to wrestle in LA in the Ukrainian Cultural Center? No, I want to be the Staples Center. Right. But right now, I'm just, whatever I have control over, I'm just dominating it, or at least trying to,
How do you evolve that over time? How do you say, okay, this was working when I started on my own, it's not working anymore? What kind of metrics, what kind of things are you looking at where you go, okay, let's switch this up now, let's add this to it?
Well, yeah, even if you look at me from day one of getting released to now, I'm always changing it up, whether it be, the Deathmatch King, the indie guy, just always changing things up, and not everything's going to work. I'm going to throw something against the wall, and sometimes it's not going to stick, and that's fine. You pivot, you adjust, and that's how you learn, is by failure. But right now, everything's in my hands. In WWE, towards the end, I felt like there's only so many things I can control, and that's fine. Right. I say this all the time. Like in WWE, you can control your attitude, your physique, and your gear. You know what I'm saying? That's about it. Just, just always be ready to show up. And that's how Always Ready got started, was just always be ready. Right. But now I can control everything. And listen, sometimes it's overwhelming. My brain doesn't stop. My job doesn't stop. From the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I am doing something work related, but my work is pro wrestling, talking about pro wrestling figures and making pro wrestling figures. Is it really work?
Hey, this is Matt Kemp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the Wrestling Mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody under the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did, just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette. And
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.